September 2021, question 5B, the following information was obtained from the financial records of Alimao Commercial Bank Limited for the year. So interest on advances, contribution to deposit protection fund, operating lease rentals, interest on government securities, interest paid on deposits, interest on placement and bank balances, loss on disposal of collaterals, fees and commission expenses, losses from investment in securities, purchase of equipment, depreciation, transfer to statutory reserves, losses on stock brokerage dealings, gain on foreign exchange dealings, discounts on bills purchased or detached remuneration, provision for bad and doubtful debts, investment in government securities, bills receivable and for collection, guarantees and performance bonds, interest accrued and paid bills for collection, acceptances and endorsements, rebate on bills discounted, provision for taxation, general charges recovered, commission on exchange and brokerage, contribution to deposit protection fund includes investment reservation surplus. Included in transfer to statutory reserves is an amount paid for exchange and commission of 72,000. Discounts on bills purchased included interest and discount paid of 58,500. Provision for bad and doubtful debts includes specific bad debts at the beginning and at the end of the year amounting to 102,000, 210,000 respectively. The corporate tax rate applicable during the year was 25%. We will use 30% for consistency. Required a statement showing the taxable profit or loss for Alimao Commercial Bank Limited for the year, and tax payable or refundable by the bank. So to get the taxable profit, we have to determine what are the income items in the list provided. Then we deduct allowed expenses from that. So the first income item is interest on advances to customers. The advances to customers can be loans, can be overdraft, or any other advances. So bring in 697,200. So interest on advances. So bring in 697,200. So that's our first income item. Contribution to deposit protection fund is a cost. Operating lease rentals, there is interest on government securities, but most likely it has an expense to go with it. So leave it until we come to the expense to match with interest on government securities, because this is part of investment income. It's not operating profit, but investment income. So it has its own expense. So interest paid on deposits, interest on placement is an income, 3990. So interest on placement and bank balances. So interest on placement and bank balances. Is 3990. Losses or loss on disposal of collateral, fees and commission expenses, losses from investment in securities. Now that's the expense that matches interest on government securities. So you can bring in interest on government securities. So the income is 21,900. We say less that loss of 1155. So the difference will be how much? So the difference is income. Yes? 2765. 7105.
115. 715.
So that's interest on government securities.
Would there be a problem if you did that and you came and left the data? Could be a problem.
You cannot lessen from expenses because this is not an expense of the bank. It relates to a different source. That's why we say each specified source is treated separately. So technically, you should have had a working note here for investment in government securities less its expenses, so that each source is separate. This is not part of operating profit of the bank. Okay, then losses from investment in securities, purchase of equipment, depreciation, transfer to statutory reserves, losses on stock brokerage dealings, and then you have gain on foreign exchange dealings of 2205. So gain on foreign exchange dealings. Is 22. Gain on foreign exchange dealings is 22. Discounts on bills purchased, there's a note on that. Note 3 says discounts on bills purchased includes interest and discounts paid of 58,500. So discounts on bills purchased. So we take the whole discount of 493.5 minus 58.5. 3.5 minus 58.5 will be 438. So that is discounts, auditor's remuneration, provision for bad and doubtful debts. Investment in government securities is a balance sheet item or a statement of financial position item. Bills receivable for collection, the same thing.
435. That's 435.
Bills receivable and for collection is an item for statement of financial position. Guarantees and performance bonds, the same thing. Interest accrued and paid is an expense. Bills for collection, acceptance, and endorsements is an item for statement of financial position. Rebates on bills discounted is an earned income. We said it's an earned. So because it's not yet received, it's not going to be included. Provision for taxation is an expense. We put general charges recovered of 375. So general charges recovered. Commission on exchange and brokerage. So as far as income is concerned, those are our income items. Will be same as allowable expenses. So we have contribution to deposit protection fund, which is 147,000, but we have to adjust for note 1. 972 has to be deducted. They include what we call investment evaluation surplus, which is an item for statement of financial position. So contribution to deposit protection fund. So the name has changed to Kenya Insurance. It's called Kenya Insurance Deposit Corporation. So protection of depositors. So we minus 972. So that's an allowable expense. So that gives us how much?
Wait.
Gives us 146,028. So 146,028. Then you deduct operating lease rentals. Operating lease rentals is 9720. Interest on government securities, interest paid on deposits, we deduct 7110. $71.10. Interest on placement, loss on disposal of collaterals is $12.60. Loss on disposal of collaterals, fees and commission expenses is $21.30. Purchase of equipment is $1,800. We can claim investment allowance. Depreciation, transfer to statutory reserves as a note. Note number 2, included in transfer to statutory reserves is an amount paid for exchange and commission, 72,000. So exchange and commission paid so we have 72. Losses on stock brokerage dealings is 522. Losses on stock brokerage dealings, gain on foreign exchange, discounts, auditors remuneration is 1179. Provision for bad and doubtful debts, there's a note 4. Provision for bad and doubtful debts includes specific bad debts at the beginning and end of the year amounting to 102 and 210 respectively. So we have specific bad debts. Investment in government securities are balance sheet items, bills receivable and for collection, guarantees and performance bonds. Interest accrued and paid is 2961. Interest. And paid is 2961. Bills for collection, acceptances, and endorsement is a balance sheet item. Rebates for bills discounted is not yet earned, it's an earned discount. Provision for taxation is not allowable. General charges recovered, commission and brokerage, and we are done. So we need to get the total income, less total allowable expenses, and that should be able to give us the taxable income. That's income 726. 171, 232, 432. That will give us taxable income. So how much is taxable? $554. 554, 664. So it's 540. So the income is
584, 556, 556.
then that will be our Roman 1. So for Roman 2, we are required to calculate corporation tax. So we'll calculate corporation tax for Roman 2. So for that income, we wish to calculate corporation tax liability. So corporation tax liability will be So take 554. And get 30%, which will give us how much?
166, 366.
166, 366, 800. Then you lessen the goes in tax. So the golden tax will be on interest on government securities. So government securities was 21,900,000. Multiply that by 15%. %, 15% of 21,900 is?
You hang the cross, you're not taking the.
No. You take the original amount. Don't worry about the expense.
Okay.
You just take the amount they received. The expense is theirs. The central bank paid 21,900.
3285.
32. Is this
3285.
or 3285? So whatever remains is corporation tax.
163.
163.
081. 800.
Then you have May 2021, question 1D. Kama inaitwa maendeleo.
Let's see. One. Let's see. Correct.
So May 2021, session 1D, 1C actually. 1C, it's called Maendeleo Bank. So the question says, the following details were obtained from the records of Maendeleo Bank Limited for the year ended 31st December. The net loss for the year was 21,160,000 after the following had been recorded. Now, income from trading activities of a foreign bank subsidiary, gain on sale of shares, fees and commission income, interest from government, interest from government treasury bills, interest on deposits with other banks, interest on loans and advances to customers' contributions to Deposit Protection Fund, interest on customers' deposits, rent and rates, directors' emoluments, income from foreign exchange dealings, depreciation, provision for interest expenses, auditors' fees, loss on disposal of collaterals, installment tax, installation of new online banking system, staff costs, operating lease rentals, capital redemption reserve, 12% debenture stock, purchase of double cabin pickup, profit and loss account rebate on bills discounted, staff costs included, provision for salary increase, cost of negotiating loans for staff, senior staff, club membership, online banking system was installed in May, and it included the cost of computer software of 200 and new computers, or cost of 620. Required statement of adjusted taxable income or loss for Maendeleo Bank Limited for the year, and we'll also calculate tax, even though the examiner has not asked. So just calculate it as a point of note, even though it has not been required by the examiner. So may So reported loss is that. Then we'll say add back. So we are adding back disallowable expenses. So we'll add back disallowable expenses. Add back disallowable expenses. So income from trading, that's income. Gain on sale of shares, fees and commissions income. Interest from government treasury bills, interest on deposits with other banks, interest on loans and advances to customers. Contribution to protection fund is our first expense, but it's allowed. We're looking for expenses that are not allowed. Interest on customers' deposits is an income item. Rent and rates. Rent and rates is an expense, but again, it's allowable. Directors' emoluments is also an expense, but it's allowable. Income from foreign exchange dealings is an income. The first expense we add back is depreciation of 45,300. So we add back depreciation.
What is director emoluments?
Those are payments to directors. Directors' fees, directors' remuneration is allowable for a company to pay its directors. So depreciation will add back 55 to be 445.3 because we're using thousands of shares. So that's depreciation. Provision for interest expense will add back because it's a provision. So 184.4. Auditor's fees is allowable expense. Loss on disposal of collaterals is allowable for the bank. Installment tax is not allowable, so add back 724.8. Staff costs, there is a note on staff costs, note number 2. Provision for salary increase will add back that. Provision. Provision for salary increase was 220. So we add back that. Cost of negotiating loans for staff will add back because it's a preliminary cost. It is incurred before any amount of loan is obtained. So any cost incurred before generating the income is disallowable because it's a preliminary cost. So we also have negotiating loans for staff. Is